the next question is, what are some tools for habit change?
Yeah. Habit change is a big deal. This is one of the things I think is um, it is hard. Some habits are extremely hard. I was thinking of one where I had a really sweet structure that got me to the gym 3 times a week, and then it went away.
Mm.
And now I struggle to get to the gym once a week is good for me. I'm like, oh my goodness, what has happened? And then I'm looking for ways to build that structure back in. And for me, the key is structure. Like it's too challenging to rely on willpower or motivation or um, that inner push. I mean, that inner decision is. I mean, it has to be. There is always a decision point involved, but I think it's about creating structures and rituals and things around it, and understanding where the decision point really is.
Mm.
And like for exercise, I was like specifically for exercise, things that really help are if you have a set time in your calendar when you know that you're going to be like you when you know you're going to do it and you're going to be in the spot for it, uh, or if you're going to meet someone there, or if it's an activity you love. Those three things, if you do one of those three things, you're more likely to follow through. If you do two of those things, you're going to follow through. All three, of course.
Mm.
So it's looking at your the decision to follow through on an action or a habit is not. It happens usually hours, days, sometimes even weeks before you're actually doing the activity. Uh, and that's what I see is the key to successful habit change. One of them.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I was looking down because I was trying to find this quote, which I'm totally going to butcher it. John Mark Comer is somebody that I follow, and he said something along the lines of like, you have to build a life architecture that aligns with your deepest desires. And
Yeah.
and I loved that idea of like building an architecture of our daily habits is an architecture of our life. And what ha- it, you have to ask your questions. What are my deepest desires? What do I want? And I think that kind of goes with what you're saying. We have to know these things to then continuously build upon. And this idea that it is a building, like we are building towards something. Who are we building for? And like, what is the why behind some of these habits that we want to change? And what where will I be in a year if I actually do live out these daily habits that I want to implement now? How will my deepest desires come up, and how will I be able to live those out? So I just thought that was so good. There was also another quote of somebody, I can't remember her name right now, but she said something like, "Am I living? Um, is the life I'm living the life that longs to live in me?" Or lead like so this idea of like what am I doing on a daily basis to live out like what I really believe my purpose is, or the things that I want to accomplish, um, and how important it is that we are looking at the habits of our day to be able to move forward in that and just continuously grow. So I don't know if that one made sense. I think I really butchered that quote. But I love this idea. It's kind of been rocking my world, daily habits and how important they are, and just the reminder too of just the small, like it might feel so small, but when we look back, we can see the profound effect of like some of these things that we do on a daily basis and how they form us and shape us. And so even that, like I think there's something to looking at some of the habits that we have created and what have they done, who have they created us to be, and be able to move forward looking at the new habits that we want to create, and yeah, look forward to this new development as a person because of them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's definitely an element of creating. I love that, creating architecture and looking at what good architecture does. is it naturally flows energy mindfully, meaningfully into design spaces, designed interactions. And that's what it takes. I mean, this world needs more empathy. It needs people who are aware, looking to create structural change, like societal structural change, to address some of these endemic problems. And I know coaching is a part of it. It's a part of it. And so what I see is, it does feel like more pressure, but sometimes it's helpful too, to think of this like I have the privilege to structure my life in a way that provides value and is of service to larger societal structural change. And when I ask myself that question, the usual stressors of how does this relate to me? Am I going to, be successful, get enough, be enough, be okay? All these questions become secondary. They're simply not as interesting as, am I using my life in a way that I feel like I was born to do this work? And that feeling of I'm born to do this work, I'm working in service of other, I'm working to further social justice, I'm working to create structural change both in my life and then family's life and then society's life. It's like this, it's this ever broadening ripple. And in this space, I remember being in this space and the importance of holding a vision for what you want to achieve in your own life and the lives of others, and what the change you want to see in the world. Holding that vision becomes so valuable because that vision starts to become stronger, more interesting, almost more tangible than present setbacks. Present tense setbacks become something that provides learning along the way to that larger goal. Doesn't mean it's easy. Doesn't mean it's hard. Doesn't mean I get stressed out, right? And go doomy and gloomy. I can do it good as anyone. And but there's a certain push from living that mission-based life of asking, how can I incorporate this feedback and get better? And there's a certain belief in that I think coaching, it just permeates through all of coaching. Yeah, it's amazing when you're in it and you see people who are new to these concepts, new to training, and just feel in touch that yes again, and I know running this organization, I try to get into those classes, but wow, it's a lot. And when I get in there, I savor it. It reminds me of why I'm in this profession. I believe in it now today more than ever. Like we are, coaching is a part of the progress, and I'm just feeling really fortunate to be a part of it.
Yeah, that zeal of the 1.0 coaches, that I'm like, yes, get it,
Mm-hmm.
keep them going. But no, I agree. I mean, it's rocked. I say this all the time. It's rocked my world. Coaching has really changed my life, and even more so now than ever too. When I look at where I was before implementing life coach training into my life and my workspace, it's like, wow, like I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. And I know so many more people because of it. Like that's interesting, it's expanded just even that, the connection with others. And so, yeah, John, this is cool. Thank you for
Yeah.
this time today.
Yeah, you too, Ashley. You're amazing. It's fun to riff and
Yeah.
be and have you cue these things up. It's lovely. Thank you. And thank you, community, for being a part of this. Really, truly, it's, when I first found coaching, I just knew that this was it. This is going to be the future of communication. And for all those new coaches out there or people who are starting crafting that vision and finding ways to remind yourself of that vision is essential. And there'll come a moment, you keep taking action steps forward, but you will feel like you're living those goals. And it won't feel like the first time. It will feel like you're living a memory of a dream. And when that happens, it's like this feeling of utter certainty that you were born to do this work. And that's what I wish people, like that's what I want my children to feel and everyone to feel, is that feeling of, yeah, I was born to do this work. And you know it if you're there. You know if you have it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. This is super fun. And thanks, community, for listening and being a part of this. We'll see you next week.